Welcome to Autistic People Talking, a podcast where autistic people talk. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Claire, and this is my channel, Woodshed Theory. Here, I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me. So if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. I almost forgot to mention that I put out videos a few times a week, so click the like and the share. Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of my favorite things on the planet, my podcast, Autistic People Talking, a podcast where autistic people talk. And today we have a very, very special guest, friend of the show, friend of the channel, Isabella from Sweden. Welcome, Isabella.
Thank you so much. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm very happy to be here, and I'm honored to be one of your guests on your podcast. I watch every episode, and I think it's great. It's very inspiring. Yeah.
Well, I definitely wanted to have you on as a guest. I know that you have been around the channel comments for a long time, and you started your own channel. So I wanted to hear from you and get your perspective after watching some of your content and seeing how your channel's been growing. So I'm really happy to have you here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, your channel, your involvement with the autism community, and just get us kind of started?
Yeah, I will do my best. My background, I guess I should talk about how I realized that I'm autistic
Sure.
and neurodivergent. It was not long time ago. Sorry for my Swedish mixed English, but
Oh,
it was.
it's actually you actually have you have very good English, and I'm not having any trouble understanding you at all. So don't
Thank you so
feel
much.
worried.
Yeah, it started when I was going through a big change in my life. I have two kids, and I was married for almost 17 years. And suddenly I felt like this is not working out because we were trying to. It's a little bit complicated because we have different cultures.
Mm,
And I thought that we would be able to work it out, but I felt like I need to live on my own and discover my own identity. So I moved to my own apartment, and then everything just crashed, I guess. It felt like I didn't have any control whatsoever, and I was unemployed.
mm,
So I was like in this crisis, and I was trying to get a job, and I was really stressed, and take care of my kids and all of that. And I was like, I need to understand why everything feels so hard for me, and why I can't seem to keep a job, because every time I was close to um you know doing the same thing. I had a job for 2 years, but I couldn't do it because I felt so bored. And also, I I think my kind of neurotype, or my needs, didn't feel aligned with the type of job I was doing. So this is a very long story, but
we're here
when
for
I
the long story today.
I'm so sorry. When I discovered that I'm autistic, it was the same year I moved, and it was in the summertime, so it was like half a year after, or 6 months after. And I started to watch videos about different kinds of disorders, and everything about psychology, because I wanted to understand why I felt like I couldn't connect to people, and it seemed like I was being misunderstood, and it was very hard for me to communicate to my co-workers.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to understand myself, because I had struggled for such a long time, and as a kid it was horrible. So I saw a video about autism. I don't know what the first video was, but I remember watching your videos and Taylor's videos, and yeah, many different content creators talking about their experiences. And after that, I was trying to, because I knew that I could relate. I knew that this was explaining everything, but I couldn't accept that I was autistic straight away. So
I
it took
understand
a
that.
while. Yeah,
Hmm.
it took a while, but I felt like this is how I feel. This is explaining what I'm going through. So after that, I was like, yeah, I need to know more about this. I kept watching videos about autism and I wanted to learn more and more. So I got obsessed and I couldn't stop. And now I'm here and I'm still watching videos about autism and neurodivergence. And I also started my own channel. I don't know why, because I just decided without even, it was like I was out of control and I was filming myself and I was posting it onto YouTube. Um, I felt like I just needed to talk. I just needed to connect
I
to the
understand.
community. So that's why I started to filming myself and yeah, just tell my story and see if anyone else could relate. I'm so sorry for this intro, but yeah,
What?
that's how
No,
I
please don't. You're going to sound like me if you start apologizing all the time. That's my thing, Isabella, not your thing.
I explain way too much at the same
No,
time.
I don't think that you do at all. I think that many autistic people like we want to know the entire story, including all of the details, so that we can understand the context better. So I think any details that you can give us probably will be really helpful to people to be able to understand your situation better. When you realized that you were probably on the autism spectrum, what did you do next? You said that you did a lot of research. Did you decide to uh, pursue a diagnosis, or are you self-diagnosed? And if you don't want to talk about that, that's fine, but
No,
I'd be interested in hearing more about that.
yeah, it's okay. I'm very open about this in my videos, and I have had some live streams where I talk about it, like everything that is personal. And I don't know when to stop, so I just tell everything. But I was I I felt like I was autistic, but I didn't know if I had the right to call myself autistic in the beginning. But in my mind, I was saying to myself, I'm autistic. So I started to connect to people, and I also watched a lot of videos about self-diagnosing and that it's valid. I heard people say it's valid because there are so many difficulties when you want to get an official diagnosis. So I was like, yeah, I'm self-identified. I said I'm self-diagnosed in the beginning, but then I changed it because people were like, questioning why other people were saying that about themselves. I
Mm,
watched a lot of comments on Instagram, mainly where people are attacking other people, and
yes,
so
yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm self-identified autistic, and then later on, I started to call myself neurodivergent, but I'm still talking about myself as autistic,
Mm,
if
mhm,
you understand. So it's both. I'm both autistic and ADHD, but
mhm.
I'm self-identified and I'm seeking an official diagnosis in Sweden. And I met a psychiatrist, and I know that I'm gonna continue with the evaluation. So I'm waiting to get
Yeah,
a new.
what is the diagnostic process like in Sweden? I'm sure everyone here would be interested in hearing more about that because it can be different from country to country. So what has that process been like so far for you?
Um, yeah, it was not easy in the beginning. I called a doctor.
Yes,
Um,
the your general practitioner, so your doctor.
yeah, So I called my doctor, and then I got an appointment with a psychiatrist. It's not really a psychiatrist. It's someone who is,
Psychologist.
yeah, someone who is specialized in disorders. So
Okay.
I talked to her first, and then she sent a referral to the psychiatrist. I met a psychiatrist who didn't treat me well,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really scared of him. So I didn't know what to tell him. I started I couldn't control myself. I was like, I talked very fast because I didn't know what he wanted to know about me. When met him the first time, he just looked at me like I was stupid, and
Mm.
he said, "What problems do you have?" Like really oppressive. Maybe I shouldn't go into details, but it wasn't a good experience. So I told them that I didn't want to see him again. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I had to wait for 2 months, and then I got to meet a woman who's a psychiatrist. And I brought my mother because I heard other people say that it's easier if you bring someone that
Mm.
could support you. So I was like, "Oh, my mother, maybe she wants to come with me." But I didn't ask her. I just told her that I'm going there, and I was treated very badly. And she was like, "Maybe I should come with you." So
Ah, okay.
it was easy. And yeah, so it went great. And she was really respectful and understanding. And yeah.
I don't know that people understand how scary it is to go meet with somebody. I'm sure it's like this for any diagnosis that anyone might have, but it's really scary to go and address that with someone, and the way that they receive you and the way that they respond to you um, is very important in that moment, because if they meet you and they respond to your questions about yourself, if they're originally treating you like they don't believe you, or they're treating you like they're doubting everything that you're saying and that they know already just by looking at you that you're wrong. It's like it's very hard to talk to a person like that, even if
Yeah.
you are wrong. Like if they're shutting you down right away, it's very hard to really share your feelings with them.
Yeah, I felt like I didn't want to open up to this person because I was scared of him, and I don't want to
Yes,
talk to people that scare me. So I was
I
like, no.
agree. And I think, I mean, there's so much to say on that topic. When you meet with a medical professional who like has written you off already, it's like hard to speak up for yourself in that moment. So I think you made the right decision to um, say, "Hey, I don't think I want to meet with this doctor anymore."
Mhm.
Because I think I would have done the same thing. That sounds scary. I think that's why I always tell people to try and find doctors who specialize in neurodiversity
Yeah,
if you can. Not because I'm saying you should try to like, oh, well, they'll see it and it's more likely that you'll get a diagnosis, but because they also know how to best work with other neurodivergent people because they're used to it, and they
exactly.
can kind of they have the information they need, especially with high masking individuals, to be able to like sort through the mask to be able to see your autistic traits behind that.
Yeah. I wish we had a neurodivergent psychiatrist here, but we
Mm.
don't. I asked them, do we have any autistic psychiatrists? But no, I don't know if they are allowed to even tell
Well,
people.
that's a good point. Like, are they even allowed to disclose if they are neurodivergent?
Because I don't know, I don't trust people. So it's very hard to like, are you sure about that? So,
Yeah,
but
especially if you have had bad experiences trusting people. I've been through situations where I've had to like disclose things to doctors and how scary that can be.
mm,
And if you don't feel comfortable, even when you feel comfortable, it's hard, to talk about.
Yeah, it is. It's very
So,
hard.
and very overwhelming. So, especially because you're basically saying, I've I've had the wrong view of myself for my entire life. I've looked at myself incorrectly.
Mm.
So, can you help me? And that's a really vulnerable position to put yourself in to go meet with somebody. And I
Yeah,
hear a lot from people in the comments of the channel talking about that moment and or talking about going to get evaluated. My inside response is always like how brave it is to do that, because self-diagnosis is valid and not everyone can get a diagnosis. But to go and seek I think it's brave to tell the world that you're neurodivergent. That's a brave thing to do, and it's also a brave thing to do to go talk to somebody about it, whether or not that's a doctor or anyone else. Disclosure is brave, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I mean, it feels like because we say that it's valid to be self-identified, it feels unnecessary, but at the same time, I want to get validation. I want to have proof, but it's only because people will not believe me if I
Mm,
don't
mhm.
have
I
the
understand.
possibility to show them, you
I
know.
feel th I think I felt the same way, n but mostly because I didn't trust myself, because I grew up feeling like I shouldn't trust myself and that my validation came from others, as far as me seeking reassurance, especially with having OCD, my validation would always come from other people.
Mhm.
So if even if I thought that I could be or was autistic, like it wasn't good enough for me, just coming from me, because I couldn't trust myself. And now I feel differently, but I just feel like it's a very personal experience, like whether or not you wanna pursue or if you even can pursue the formal diagnosis. Um, it's really personal
Mhm.
to everyone, which is why when I get a little confused when people start talking about, "Oh, well, self-diagnosis isn't valid, you need the help from you need somebody who's a professional." Um, I understand where that mindset is coming from, but then I also, like, understand the mindset of, as an autistic person who understands myself better than anyone else, I think I can do the research and look at the information and also make the call.
I have so many thoughts. I don't
Please.
know what to express right now. But yeah, what you said about like people wanting to get diagnosed, it's not like that's something that you've been thinking about for a long time. I mean, it takes a while to understand yourself. You have to learn so much about autism before you even have the capacity to call yourself autistic.
Mhm.
It's not like you decide without even knowing yourself. So
Right.
you want an official diagnosis because you already you know yourself, but it's very hard to make other people understand it because maybe
Mhm.
they don't have the same knowledge or will to learn.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot of
yeah,
ignorance as well, I think. There's, like, an assumption, and assumptions are made, and people have one view of something in their mind. Like, this is what
yeah,
autism looks like. So to learn another view, I think not everyone is willing to do that or, understand that that's something that they even need to do. They're like, "Oh, well, you don't." You
Yeah.
aren't representing the autism that I understand. So that must mean that you're not autistic. So
Yeah.
I get that thought process too.
Because I mean, they don't know what's going on in your brain. They don't understand what you struggle with because they don't see it. They're not you. So it could be invisible to other people. You hide it. You're masking. You're pretending that everything is fine. But when you are alone, you are suffering. So, I mean, you get very exhausted from it.
Mm.
And
How
people
have
don't
you felt?
realize that.
Yeah, I understand that too. Not understanding that you're tired.
They
um,
don't see it.
yes, they don't. I've had to explain that to people. Like you don't even being more public on the internet. It's like you don't see behind the scenes. Like you see me on a camera and I share as much of my life as I can with you, but I don't share everything. So you don't know what I'm like all the time, you know?
Yeah.
How do you feel that knowing about your diagnosis, knowing about autism, knowing that about yourself, how has that changed things for you?
Ooh. It was pretty recently. I'm 38 now, and it was last year.
Mhm.
I realized I'm autistic. So I'm trying to adapt and understand myself all the time. I've learned a lot of things, but I've not really, um, what do you call it? It's hard to wrap your head around
Grasp.
how grasp. It's hard to grasp how much you are affected and what your traits are and your life. You're thinking so much about your childhood and everything that's been hard for you
Yes, yeah.
and why you felt like an alien and you couldn't connect to people. You felt like an outcast, you know. And it's I've always struggled with communicating with like several people at once.
Yes.
I'm very bad at not bad, but I'm not comfortable with talking when there are a group of people listening to me, and it's also hard to know when to talk about what you think
Mm.
because you're not sure if you're um, intrusive. Like you don't
Mhm.
know if you take someone else's uh, time or I don't know what to call it, but yeah,
Yeah, I
I've always
understand. I
struggled with that.
struggle with that too.
Yeah, so it's hard to know when I can speak and when I shouldn't even talk to people. Like I can't
I
explain.
always
So
tell
hard.
people on the show that we'll probably talk over each other, and that's okay because we're
Yeah,
autistic and it's Zoom. So,
yeah. I'm not good with back and forth conversations. I just because I think is because of ADHD as well. Because when I have my thoughts, I need to get them out. I
mm,
forget what I'm gonna say, and I try to remember, but sometimes I want to say it, and sometimes it's hard because I struggle with speaking. So I get like I've been very quiet in my life, like in school and at work. So I'm a very quiet person, um, but I want I want to speak. So it's very hard. It's like conflicting traits.
yeah, I find that I struggle with speaking over people, and a lot of people will comment on the podcast and say like, "Oh, you're doing a really good job talking to people." But it doesn't feel like that to me because I feel like it's work for me. Uh I I want to make sure that people have room to speak, and sometimes I struggle to make sure that I'm giving people space, and I'm giving them enough time to respond and share what they think. So thanks for being patient with me.
I think you are letting me talk, and I do the same, so I understand. I talk too much sometimes, but I don't think you are talking too much. I think you're. I mean, it's interesting.
I also struggle with when I'm in a group of people knowing when to speak, and I struggle because I will hear something in the conversation, and then I will think of something to say that I wanna say, and then I'm holding on to that thought, and the conversation is still moving, and then I don't know, um, I'm waiting for my turn to talk about it, but I'm not really listening to the rest of the conversation because 'cause I'm trying to hold on to my
Mm,
thought,
mm,
and then the conversation moves forward past where my thought would even be relevant. But then I still would want to add the thought in because I've been
yeah.
waiting to share it for so long. So I've been practicing when I'm with a group of people, letting that go. Like if the conversation has moved on, if it is important for me to still share that thought. And I've been practicing letting that go because the thought isn't relevant anymore and no one is gonna there's not gonna be any negative implications if not everybody knew what I was thinking anymore.
Mm.
But
I
that
can relate.
yeah, it's a struggle because I want to be able to like share what I'm thinking. And then I I this is such an interesting topic to talk about because I remember like when you're in school and you're hearing things about like what makes a good listener. And they would say things like, "Don't think about what you're going to say next. Just think about what the person is saying." And I was like, "I don't know how that is possible." So, um, I don't know how to do that. So I
That's really
would
strange to
yeah, like,
say.
okay, so how okay, so you're listening to the person and you're trying not to think just about what you think. You're just trying to hear out what they're saying.
Mm,
And it's taken me now that I've been diagnosed, I realized this is gonna maybe sound weird, but I realized that I need to ask myself, like, do I care about what this person is saying? Because maybe in the past, I was putting more weight on my own response, and I was assuming I knew what the person was gonna say. So now I have to, like, step back and and acknowledge that I do not know what the person's going to say. So I need to just wait and listen, but that's very difficult for me to do that. And it sounds like you struggle
mhm.
with that as well.
Yeah. Uh, if I understand what you mean, sometimes I get confused, but I think you mean, yeah, like when you want to talk, or when you're listening to someone talking, you understand where they are going with the
Yes,
conversation, what they are trying to say, like before they are reaching that
finished. Yeah,
place. Yeah,
but I shouldn't
yeah,
assume that I know. I should wait and see what they're going to say.
yeah. I don't know if I've struggled with that. It depends because I know I've been so. I mean, I'm not good with people at all. Only when I'm working, when I'm masking, I'm very good. But I don't know if I've had enough experience to know if I struggle with that, to be
Mm.
honest.
I
Because in
struggle
my,
with that even with like people that are close to me. Like, when you're communicating with people who are close to you, like with your family, do you still feel like you have these issues, like, with closer people?
if I think about when I was a child, when I was living with I had two siblings with me. I have three, but one of them was grown up. So we were living together with our mother. She was a single parent. And we all didn't even think about how we communicated with each other. So we, I mean, we were arguing and we were,
Mm,
doing
mhm.
everything. So we didn't have any issues with it. But My older siblings was meeting friends a
Mm.
lot, so I was the one staying at home. So I was talking to myself, and that's how I communicated.
You know, it's very strange because I have a neurodivergent sibling myself, and now I look back and I realize that, now as adults, I feel like our relationship is, and I think she would say the same, like our relationship is better and more healed than it ever was. But we really struggled as to she was diagnosed, I wasn't, two neurodivergent kids living together. Um, because we didn't really communicate with each other. It was almost like I'm trying to think of a good analogy, like 2 trains at the train station, right? Like, sometimes we're both at the station, but a lot of times we're out traveling somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, that's been really interesting for me to understand, like, I know that you said before when you look back at your life and you're, like, processing
Hmm.
and, like, trying to grasp everything that has happened.
Yeah.
It's really weird for me to look back and think about what my life was like as an undiagnosed person, and one of those things is I really always felt like I couldn't connect with my siblings or the people who are close, well, my sibling or the
Mm.
people who were close to me. Um, there may have been a connection, but it was different than other people's connections to their family and their siblings and their friends. Do you feel like when you look back at your life, like you can see how um, the autism affected your relationships throughout your life?
Yeah, I was a very quiet kid, as I said before. I was very quiet in school, and I've been thinking about that a lot because I think I was in a shutdown or I was disassociating, something
Mm-hmm.
like that, because I was trying to cope. I didn't understand myself, and everything was very overwhelming, and there were so many kids, and I wanted to connect to them, but I didn't know how, and I felt so different. So I think I was very quiet. I had a few friends, but it was not like we could talk about anything. And with my family, my sister has always been close to me, and we've always been able to talk to each other about anything. But it's not v- deep all the time. It's not, we keep it at a certain level. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not, we don't talk about mental issues or anxiety or, difficulties. We don't talk about that. But I've been talking about that with my mother a little bit as an adult, not as a kid. But now, after all of this, when I've started to understand everything, I've talked to her and I've talked to my oldest brother. He's very understanding, and yeah, he has a lot of experience. So he he's very easy to talk to about these things, but I don't think it depends on what it is, because autism, it's not something that my family has any knowledge about. It's not
Mm.
like they are aware of the differences between autistic people or what it means to be autistic.
Yeah.
So it's very
Yeah.
hard to, I can't educate. I know a lot of things, but it's very hard for me to explain it to people who don't know anything about it. So yeah, it's very hard. I want them to know, but I don't know really how to start.
It's easier, I think, to educate strangers than it is to educate the people who are close to you.
Yeah, it
Because
feels
when,
really awkward to talk about
yeah,
it. I don't know why.
I
But
do. It's because
okay.
they know you.
Yeah.
And I think we spend a lot of our lives mirroring the people around us, copying them to
Mm.
uh, appear more neurotypical and to fit in better. If you turn to a person from where you get a lot of your input, and you say, or especially with your parents who are supposed to is kind of a, I think, a little harsh, but they're supposed to notice. And they're supposed, like, these are people who were supposed to know that you were different, maybe didn't for whatever reason. It's a lot scarier if they turn around and say, like, no, I don't think that, or they invalidate what you're coming to them with.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, I think it's a lot harder to, to educate or share with people who are close to you because there's a lot more at stake. Like if I get on to the internet and I talk about it with strangers and they say you're wrong, or they say something that's ignorant or incorrect, I can kind of distance myself from that.
Mm.
But if that comes from my parent, then that actually affects me, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know if, I mean, if my family wouldn't believe me or if they were telling me like I'm just making it up, no one has. But if I would ever get confronted by someone in my family, like you should just stop thinking about this, or you're not autistic, or whatever, I don't know if I would be able to keep talking to them, to be honest. I don't know, but or I would just don't talk about autism with them, or like, you know. But it's hard. You can't always, pretend to be someone you're not.
Right.
I want
And
to
I
be
think a lot of
authentic.
the people who interact with my channel and my subscribers and the people who watch my videos, many of us are, um, well, to whatever extent, but many people are unwilling to continue in the way of life that they were continuing before, right? As you said, like you get to a point where, and I've heard this from other people, whether it be, the dissolution of their marriage or leaving their job, unable to work, like you get to a point where you can no longer continue and
Yeah.
and even more so are unwilling and unable to continue in the way that you were going.
Yes. That's
Um,
how I feel. I
yeah,
can't do it.
I've spoken about it before, where I when I was first diagnosed, telling somebody and then being like, "Well, this doesn't change anything. You were doing fine before. You can continue with what you were doing."
Hmm.
And that hit me so hard because I thought, I cannot. I can't. Like, to the extent where, I had been through so much already and, finding out about my mental illness, going through treatment, and, uh, getting to the point where I like, depression and all of these things, to a really dark place, and to have somebody who I was at the time close to be like, "Well, this does not change anything."
Mm.
Maybe in that moment I felt like, maybe it's a good thing that they said that, because in that moment I was like, "This changed everything." And if you can't see that, at the moment I couldn't see how, like, that person would try and, like, that they would be wrong. But in the moment I knew that it was wrong, because I knew it. I was different from knowing,
Yeah.
and that I needed to make some major changes in my life.
Yeah. I totally understand, because I mean, this is something that no one else understands. I mean, if they don't go through the same thing, they can't understand how you feel, or what you have to do to be able to live a healthy life. So it's not, I mean, we can't, if we know that something is not good for us and it's destroying us, why would we go back? Why would we keep um, torturing ourselves?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I mean, it's very, I mean, I've been thinking about masking a lot, and I will never ever force myself to. mask in the same amount. You know, I know I was doing it all the time. So,
Yeah.
but now I don't. I won't do it. Maybe sometimes. I don't mean that it's bad that to mask, because sometimes it's good. It depends on the situation, but not in the extent that I did it.
Like, put
In,
on
you
an
know, like
entirely
every
different
day.
person.
Yeah, like every day at work mainly, or in school, I was suppressing everything. So that's a form of masking to me, like when you're suppressing everything about yourself and you don't allow yourself to show everyone who you are, or like speak when you want to speak, or sing or dance, or whatever it could be. So I was afraid of showing anything as a kid, but now I don't care what people think anymore. I
Right.
mean, if they think I'm weird, okay.
I still
I
struggle
don't.
too with that, right? With
Yeah.
just being like, I'm not young anymore, and I sometimes I'll be like, "Well, what will people think if I what will people if they know dot 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 or if I do dot dot dot? What will what will people think?" And I'm like, "How long will I live like this?" Where it's like,
Yeah.
how long do I have to live where I'm thinking like, "Oh, did I don't know, like, it's my decision. I get to live how I
Mhm.
wanna live, and I don't wanna be worried about it all the time, like, worried about what people will think, or if it makes me comfortable, then why not? Like, I'm not hurting anybody, but I still struggle with it, like, I still struggle with, um, feeling comfortable in my own decisions. I think because from questioning them my entire life, like, how I don't think it's wrong to question your decisions, but to the extent that I was, where every single thing goes through a filter, um, after being told my whole life, like, when I wasn't masking when I was younger, and it was like too much, too rude, too this, too that. So, like, you learn to be, like, basically, I've talked about it with other guests before, like, you learn to just shut off
Mhm.
and be somebody like that person is not what people wanna be around, that's not the person that they want. They want something else, so be that person, and I'm just not
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, like, I just can't do I'm not willing to do it anymore because if I continue to do that, I cannot be on this planet anymore, and I know that that's
Yeah.
a serious thing to say.
I mean, why should we only live for other people? That's not a life. We can't just ignore ourselves. So I don't know how to say it, but I think it's so insane that people are supposed to, do things that other people decide that they're gonna do, or like the social norms or capitalism, all of that. We're supposed to work all the time. We're not gonna complain about anything. We're just gonna wake up, go to work, get home, go to sleep. And
And it's just so is the word antithetical? It's the opposite of, uh, the social norms for neurotypical people are very not that they don't overlap in some ways for what's good for neurodiverse people, but they are different enough that, uh I'm having such a nice time having this conversation with you, by the way, thank you.
thank
Um,
you.
they are different enough where I think that, especially in the late diagnosed community, many of us are standing up and saying, "We need to find a different way forward. There has to be another way forward for us to live." And I'm not saying that I don't wanna work, work, because a lot of autistic people, we do want
Yeah.
to, um I mean, it would be nice to have all your needs taken care of without working, but, like, we do wanna work, we do wanna contribute, but we need to find a way to do that and to support ourselves that doesn't result in us, being in a bad mental state or burning out and not being able to work or not being able to be there for other people. What does that look like? And I feel like that's where I'm at in my life right now. And it sounds like where you are at as well, where you said, I need, there needs to be a reset. I need to figure out what's going on and what works for me.
Yeah. And this is something I've felt for years. It's not like I
Yes.
started thinking this way, but I've been forcing myself to, try to get a job full time and work every day from 8 to 5 or whatever. But at the same time, every day, and then I need to go home and be a mother, and I need to take care of the home, do laundry, cook, clean, everything. And I was noticing difficulties within myself to cope or to be able to do this every day. I couldn't, when I got home, I was exhausted. I couldn't do anything. So I was like wasting all my energy at work. And then when I was home, I was like drained or,
Yes.
fatigued. So I knew that I needed to do a lot of things. I couldn't just go to sleep, but it was very hard. And it felt like my body was warning me all the time. So I got these physical symptoms. I got a lot of anxiety and I was very worried about my health. So I know people are called hypochondriacs for some reason, but it was like this. I felt like I was gonna die soon if I kept doing this. And it's very dramatic, but I was worried about, maybe having a stroke or a heart attack or something bad was going to happen. And I thought that something was really wrong with me
Yeah.
because people weren't complaining, people weren't talking about this. So it felt like it was only me
Why is it so
suffering.
hard? You felt like, why is it so hard for me and not other people?
Yeah, because it felt like I was the only one who was suffering and who didn't have energy. It was like climbing a mountain every day. Yeah, it was.
You're gonna make me cry because I understand. We're
I'm
both like getting
laughing.
emotional together. Yeah.
I laugh when I talk about serious things. I laugh. It's a way of masking,
Yeah.
but it's very hard to unlearn. I can't stop laughing.
No, I get that too. This feeling that why is it, and I still struggle with like internalized ableism where I'm like, well, it shouldn't be this hard for me. It should be easier for me. Like even as a person who I run my own life now and I'm attempting to like develop my business where it can support me. Um, it's still hard for me where I look around and I'm like, why can't I have a consistently clean home? Why is it hard for me to like make sure the dishes are finished or that the house is clean or that the laundry is done or that whatever, like, uh, why why is it that it seems like my friends, they wanna go out and do stuff all the time? How can they do that? How come I can't, like, I have, one thing planned in a week, and then I'm, like, spent. I'm done for the week, like, I need to rest. So, like, I still think, like, why can other people do more and it seems easier for them? And that's hard too because a lot of neurotypical people will say, well, like everyone struggles with
Mm.
getting their house done or doing things. Everyone, it's work and but I don't think that people understand it's like not it's not a matter of like everyone struggles. It's a matter of the extent that you struggle. Like it's more of a struggle for us to be
Yeah.
able to get everything done and to be able to balance everything is more of a struggle for us because we have a lot more input coming in than other people.
Yeah, I've always been like highly sensitive. That's what I called myself before. I learned that I'm autistic and ADHD. Sorry. But yeah, I call myself highly sensitive. And that's because I felt like I was absorbing everything around me and I couldn't filter anything out. And I was so sensitive, sounds and lights and everything, vibes.
Mhm. Mhm.
So stress has always been a huge um, thing that has
Factor.
affected me. Yeah, factor. Stress has affected me really much, or like it's been so harmful to me. So
Yes.
I can't keep doing it. I mean, I can't tolerate it. So I understand what you're saying, that we are noticing things or that we are taking in much more energy than holistic people.
Mhm.
And that's true. And that's why it's hard for us sometimes to understand everything. Like we need more time to process.
Right, because we're
So,
processing more. Yeah.
yeah, so dealing with different situations, transitions, and uh, knowing what to do or what to say, yeah, everything is affected because we're getting so much input.
Sometimes I
And yeah,
wonder, it's something I've been meaning to talk about on my channel, is that um I didn't realize that I was processing something slower than other people. So sometimes I wonder how much slower, because I can notice details and things like that. Like I always thought that I was processing things faster than other people. And there are some things that I do, but I don't yet know the extent to which I am processing differently. I don't know where I'm processing faster than other people and where I'm processing slower than other people.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, I struggle with understanding how I process things because I don't think I process slow, but maybe that's just me. It could
Right,
be
because you only
internalized
have your own
ableism.
experience.
Yeah, but I don't know about other people. They never talk about this. They never say anything about struggling or, if anything is confusing or overwhelming. I only know that I'm very aware of everything. And sometimes it's hard to focus and to really understand the information that I get.
Right.
I'm losing my words.
No, I understand. Sometimes I think it's interesting that sometimes as an autistic person in a situation, I'll be able to say, like, didn't nobody thought about this? Like to me, this is like the part where I noticed all of the details, but everyone else like really thought about something else. So I can see that sometimes, but then I don't know the where the boundaries are. Like I don't know where it's different sometimes. And I know that a lot of that is because, as other people in the community say, autistic traits are human traits. We're experiencing human things. But I don't know where the boundaries are between being neurotypical and being autistic sometimes to be able to understand um, how exactly, um, not necessarily how we're different, but how does it affect me to so that I can understand where I fit better. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is sometimes I don't know where I fit.
yeah, that's me. That's me all the time. That's why I don't have any real friends at the moment. I know people, I have acquaintances, and I can talk to people in my family, but I don't have real friends that I really connect with. I don't, yeah, I don't know where I fit in. And I mean, I've been unemployed for a while now, and I will try to work again. I will get some help with it and see if I will be able to work. And I know I can work, but I don't know my needs yet. I don't know
Mm.
the amount of work I can handle. So I will try it out slowly, but I will see how it turns out, and I will tell you all if I don't fit in or if I feel like people are really accepting or understanding.
I
So
understand
yeah.
what you mean because I remember when when I was going through my diagnosis, the doctor was asking me about friends, and um that was my response as well. Like, I don't have close friends. Um well, I think what I remember saying is that it seemed like everyone has like a best friend, but I don't have a best friend. I know that for me, part of my journey has been like working on my relationships and friendships. I know like your journey is very new to you, so who knows what will happen. But do be encouraged that if friends is something that you are looking to explore in the future. I don't know, I can't say that I'm perfect, but I do feel like I've learned a lot about what friendship means and what I need to do to like have closer relationships with people. I don't think that I mean, it's just I don't think well, obviously, I don't think. I obviously didn't know what friends were, like what
Yeah, I've never understood the concept of friends. It's
right.
just like I know you and we don't talk about anything. Like it's only, these um oh, I can't find a word when you're small talking. Small
Yeah,
talk.
I think
Like
that for me it was
politeness.
like it had a lot to do with small talk, but also I think I'd find people who were maybe similar to me, uh, but also like if they
Okay.
weren't around me all the time, then I didn't like keep up those relationships. Whereas now
Mhm.
I am trying to work on learning more about what it means to have friendships and relationships. But then also, I've been learning a lot about my needs on obviously there's two sides to a friendship. I have been working on what I can offer and what that looks like. And a lot of it, for example, has to do with like I might not be the friend who spends a lot of in-person time with you, but I can check in via text
Mm.
every 2 weeks,
I
and we
relate so much to this. I can't explain. It's so not weird, but it's unreal.
um,
That's me.
like, if you wanna spend time in person, I need I need maybe a few days' notice to,
Yeah.
um, uh, be able to mentally and prepare myself to, like, do that, but I found that now that I know myself better, uh, for the first time ooh, I'll get emotional, okay. For the first time, like, those kinds of friendships are more available to me now because I didn't know that I was doing it wrong. I thought that I was like, "I'm here. If people want to be my friend, I'm
I'm like
here."
that. Oh,
Right? Like, but I didn't know it what the expectations were socially. And I didn't so, like, to me, you meet a person, and if you feel like you're clicking, like, it doesn't matter if you've known them 5 minutes or years, you're kind of, like, they're on the same level.
yeah.
So, like, I just didn't I'm talking too much now, but I
No.
didn't know that, I didn't know about, like, growing trust or, sharing and giving people the place to share about their own lives. Like, I didn't know those things because there's not, like, a book that you get that's like, "Here are the steps to having friends."
Yeah, it's so weird because remember now when you're talking about it, when I was a kid, I always wondered, how do I make friends? Is there special rules you need to follow? Like I didn't understand what I needed to do to make people want to spend time with me. It felt like I was only in their way or that they didn't want to even look at me sometimes. But I don't know if this is like trauma, some kind of trauma
I
when
understand.
you are autistic and you don't know it and you feel like you're different from everyone else. And maybe you assume that people are judging you and criticizing you or that they don't like you. I don't know if it's only me who's making it up,
No,
but
I thought that, I remember even, being younger and being with, like, a group of girls, like, for cheerleading. I remember being like, "Well, nobody here wants to hang out with me," and they're all like, "What are you
yeah.
talking about?" Like, I thought I was being excluded, but now as an adult, maybe I was being excluded a little bit, but, I think there was some of that, but also I wasn't reading any social cues. So I didn't know even if I even if there was, like, some attempt to include me or include myself, I did not know that that was happening. I'm trying to think of a good example. So you're sitting there and somebody comes over and says, "Is this seat taken?" And you say, "It's not taken." What they're asking is, "Can I sit down or can I take the chair?" Like, I wouldn't know that they're asking to join me, or if they're like, what are you doing? What are you watching?" Maybe you're watching a movie and they're like, "What are you watching?" They might not just be asking what you're watching. The social subtext might be, "Can I sit down and watch this with you?" But I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've
So
heard
I
people
would
talk about it. I could totally see that it would be hard to understand why they were saying that because I'm a direct communicator. You say
right.
that? I don't understand if there's a context,
Subtext, yeah,
subtext.
subtext.
I don't know if people are meaning something else than what they're saying. I can't speak right now, um, but this is something I think I've learned because when I was a kid, I never thought about how people communicated to me. I didn't even try to understand how. I don't know. I was so in my own head.
Mhm,
It was like a prison, I think. I was very restricted.
mhm.
I don't know why, but as an adult, you know, when you mask and everything, you need to meet the expectations of society and keep up with everything, and you learn you learn what people are saying to you, but it's hard. It's hard. I don't know what to say, but yeah,
No, I understand what you mean.
you learn more and more about it. But I don't think I'm aware of how I was interpreting what people were saying to me
I think
before I learned.
it's important that people know that, um, some of the social stuff, like, it can be learned, but it just doesn't come it doesn't come naturally, whereas with a neurotypical people, um, it's like I've heard it said before, right? Like, it seems like everyone got, like, the book but me, like, everyone got the instructions
Hmm.
but me.
Yeah.
So for neurotypical, neuro people, I think you, said, uh, for them, it's like that's just natural, that's what they think of, but for autistic, people, neurodiverse people, it is not it's not apparent. So, like, if unless you tell us straight in a straightforward way what you
Mm.
want, um, what you're communicating, we're just gonna think like, well, why would you say something if you didn't mean it? So, why don't we talk a little bit about to be encouraging to others? Like, what are some of the good things that have come out of your autism um, experience, your autism journey, finding out that you were on the spectrum? How has that what are some of the positive things that have come from that? Like, even if you're in the middle of them right now, can you kind of reflect on that?
Yeah, what I can tell you now that I'm certain about is that I don't feel lost anymore. Like I found my community. I get so much support and validation. I don't criticize myself as much as I did. And I don't feel like I'm a big failure, even if I don't work at the moment. Uh, but I realize that I'm not like other people and my brain works differently. So now I'm trying to understand more of what I what I need and how to recover and save energy. So that's my
Yes.
main focus and how to create a new life that is good for me. So yeah, I've learned a lot of good things and yeah,
I'm so
I don't know.
inspired that you said that. I wanna write it down so I can do a video about, like,
So
creating I love this idea because it's so true, like, creating your new life after diagnosis, like, because it's a complete change, and it's possible. When you said that, I think about how people sometimes say, like, "Well, what's the point of learning this about yourself when you're an adult,
mm,
when you already established your when you've already established your life, why go through this?" Um, you're like,
because we because we were living a life that is not for our brains. It's not designed for us. It's like we were masking all the time just to fit in and conform to society. And it's not good for the body. It's not, it's very dangerous. And yeah, I get a little bit, I'm not angry at you, but I get angry about um, when people are talking about this and they're like, what's the problem? Why do you want to say that you're autistic? You don't
"Well,
look autistic. Okay,
yeah,
I can say that, but
well,
it's so
you could get
offensive.
angry at me if you want to. We can still
It's
be
so
friends."
offensive. No, I don't mean you. I don't
Um,
understand how people can think that it's not changing your life. It's not good for you to understand that you're autistic or neurodivergent. Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
No, I no, I obviously, we talk about it a lot here, and a lot of us experience this, when you do find this out about yourself. Even somebody who might care about you might say something like, "What does this change? Is it" they're trying to be supportive, but they might say the wrong things.
Yeah,
Um, it changes, it can change everything, and I hope that some of what I get to do on the channel is share that part of my journey with other people, if only to show that a positive outcome is possible. Not everything about autism, being autistic, being neurodiverse is positive, and I talk about those things too. But if you are able to know something so deeply about yourself where you can now build a new life around the positives to where the negatives are not um, taking over your life anymore. Um, because basically, pre diagnosis, most people who are, or many people, I'll never say all because we're all different, but many people, they like get to this point in their lives where they're doing everything to live a good life as a neurotypical and it's not working. And when they find out that they're on the spectrum, now you can do the things that help you to have a good life as an autistic person. Like, for example, not forcing yourself to go out and do things that make you feel uncomfortable, or not forcing yourself to wear clothes that make you feel uncomfortable. Like, even
Yeah.
simple things like that.
Yeah, it's so important. And I mean, it makes a huge difference to understand what your struggles are and why you're sensitive and what you can do to limit the sensory input and to save energy. And I mean, we waste so much energy all the time. And it's very important to understand how to save our energy. So that's something I really want to understand. Uh,
I'm still figuring that out for myself. I'm sure you are as well, right? But because I spent so much of my life not understanding my sensory needs, I'm still trying to figure out, like, we were talking before we started the podcast episode, about how I need to be careful with how long I'm on a live stream for, because
yeah.
sometimes, if I'm having a good time, I won't recognize that I've run out of energy to be there, and I will leave the experience not feeling good about it
Mm,
because I've given more than I have socially.
mm.
So I've set a boundary for myself so that I don't stay for too long. I
That's
can't remember
amazing.
where. Thanks.
I mean, you need to do it if you know that it's not good for you and you don't, I mean, if you feel like a mess after or you're exhausted, you need to put some boundaries or, you need to change things.
But that's very
So,
hard to setting boundaries and keeping them is very hard. So I know it's important for me to do it because I want other people who are on the spectrum to know that it's okay to set them and keep them. But I even feel like personal pressure sometimes to not keep them because I want to. Um,
you care a lot about other
yeah,
people, I
I
guess.
care a lot. Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I didn't mean to put words in your mouth,
No, yeah.
but that's how
I
I
think
feel.
that that's appropriate thing to say. Like I want to be involved and I want to be around people and I want to be there and be in things. But I also want to be able to function in my life without getting burned out or having meltdowns or having to like seclude myself for long periods of time. Um, but yeah, finding those boundaries and like holding to those boundaries is really difficult. So if you're also doing that right, figuring that out right now, I
Yeah,
salute you.
I try. I mean, I found my tribe now, so it's very hard to understand that I can't talk all the time. Like when I have a live stream, I want to talk for hours, but now it's so new, so I'm so scared. But when I get comfortable, I want to keep doing it. I can't, it's like
Yes.
hyper focus, I guess. It feels like hyper focus. You can't stop. I don't know how to prevent myself from oversharing. I don't have a filter now
Yes.
because I'm unmasking, so it's hard to know that this is not appropriate. You shouldn't talk about this.
Yeah, I think a lot of late diagnosed adults, like they have the experience that in their childhood they were always being told Like, "That's not what we share. That's you're sharing
Mhm.
too much. That's private." And, we were just like, "But why? It's just
Yeah,
information."
and it's also, I think, maybe this is also delayed processing because
Mm,
I can't keep up with myself. I can't stop myself
yes,
because my brain is so fast and I just want to share everything. And then afterwards, I will ruminate on it and
yes.
I will be scared that I told them too much. It's like,
Yeah, like, maybe I shouldn't have talked about money or my health.
yeah,
Um, I
because
yeah,
anyone can watch it. So everyone will know everything.
yeah, so that's something that yeah, that's something that, I I give myself grace, I try to give other people grace, that's why I think we need to be kind to one another, because I think it's easy to forget that autistic people can have disordered communication, and they can struggle with social settings, um, when it's all happening on the internet. So I just try to be kind to myself and to others and know that I'm not gonna get it perfect. I'm afraid to trust myself. I'm better at it now than I was, but I'm afraid to trust myself being live and
Me
not
too.
knowing what's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
I can relate because now I haven't had a life for a long time. So I've had some time to think about it. And now I'm a little bit scared that I will not be able to feel when it's enough. Like, be careful and um, just like think about how they can use this information. Or I know most of the community is amazing, but there are other people watching
Outside,
that
yeah.
don't interact. So they can watch it after. I don't have a lot of use yet, but I think it's very important to be aware of what
Maybe I
it
think something
can
that we
do.
could both
Or
do is maybe I'm thinking about how it could be for better for me. And I think I've done this a little bit mentally, but maybe write down like the major subjects
yes.
and then write down what am I comfortable at different levels. So like what am I comfortable with, like we'd have different levels. So like maybe like your mother or your best
Hmm.
friend, what would I be comfortable with them knowing? All the way down to like a stranger,
Yeah,
which
I
is
was
the internet.
so it's embarrassing because I was thinking the other day about my, childhood friends or, people in school who knows me. I don't think they care about what I'm doing, but I was like, what if they see this? What will
Yeah.
they think of me? It's so weird. It's like I'm a bully for myself. It's like I'm
Yeah.
threatening myself. I don't know how to
I think
how to
about that too.
understand it.
And I think in a lot of ways to get around that, I just view YouTube and the internet like as a box, like a separate box, or
Mm.
like I've heard other people say like shouting into the void, but I in my mind, I don't think about or I don't let my self think about it because if I do, then I start getting nervous. For example, sometimes here's a great example. Sorry, I was trying to think of a good
No,
example.
it's no worries.
What if uh or sometimes my friends, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I was watching your video when you said that." This is like a friend I know in person. And I'm like, "You watch my videos?" And they're like, "Yeah, I watch your videos." And I'm like,
I mean, that's
That's hard for me
cool.
because
Uh,
what?
That's cool that they care that much about you because I don't think my own family watches my videos. I don't think
Yeah,
they
well, it's a kind of a shock
understand what
because
I'm
I'm
doing.
in that way, I'm like, to me, those 2 worlds are very different. And I also like, I know that people watch the videos, right? But I also, um, don't let myself think about it too much,
Mm.
because if I think about it too much, then I start getting nervous. Like, if I sit and have coffee on what if I'm filming porch coffee, right? I start, like, thinking about the fact that maybe over 1,000 people are gonna watch this, then I'm probably not gonna say anything.
That's how I feel when I try to come up with topics. Like when I'm trying to force myself to talk about something that I can't just talk about whatever, like I usually do. I can't speak. So
Yeah.
I think that's PDA. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know that, if I think about how many people are watching me, if I think, like, about every real person sitting and watching me, I would be too nervous to continue. So I kind of mentally separate it. Um, I
Yeah.
know that the I on one in one place, I know that the people who watch are real people with real lives, but then I have to, like, also think I'm just talking to my camera and
Yeah,
not to people.
I can relate because when I think about, oh, I wonder who is watching my videos, or like, how will people perceive me? And then it gets so scary. It's,
Yes.
I'm my own bully. I just come up with things that I should change. I can't. It's like, oh, this is embarrassing. You shouldn't do this. And why are you talking about this? And then when I forget about it, I can do anything. It's like it's easier for me to speak. It's like I'm free and it feels natural.
The first time my first ever YouTube video where I, like, let people know that I found out that I was on the autism spectrum, I could barely speak. I was so nervous because all I could think about was that so many people were gonna see this, and what were they gonna think about it? Um, it's really hard to put yourself out there, and I think that about any topic. So I think anyone who does anything where they're, like, public about their lives in any way, it's very brave because
Yes.
so
It's
that's why I have to kind of, like, separate in my mind,
yeah.
like,
That's what I
think of
think
it
about
as,
it.
like, one audience and not as, like, individual people, or else I get too nervous.
Yeah, I mean, if someone would criticize you, but they don't make videos themselves,
Mhm.
they don't understand the struggle, or like they don't understand how hard it is. So yeah, I think
Especially
people are
sharing.
quick to criticize,
Too
or
quick.
they mm,
It's not easy, and sometimes I feel like I'm doing a great job, and then I watch the footage back, and I'm like, "This is the most boring thing I've ever watched." Because you're like, you view yourself one way, and then you're watching your footage back to edit, and you're
ugh,
like, "I am not as funny and quick as I thought I was." I'm
I
not
talk so slow, I think. I don't know, but it feels like people are saying like I know how to speak English, but I know that it's hard for me sometimes to find the words and to know how to explain things.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that you're doing a great job because I know that, to an extent, when you're having to translate while you're speaking, that's a really hard thing to do. So I think you're doing a great job. Um,
thank you.
well, I want to thank you for coming on the show today and kind of start wrapping up a bit. We've had an amazing conversation. I'm having a great time. I could talk to you
You
all
too.
day.
Thank you so much for having me. It's yeah, it's been
Some
great.
Yeah, I loved it. Oh my gosh, yeah. Um, Please come back in the future. Uh,
Of course.
in On the podcast, I always ask my guests, if you had a piece of advice or a message for the autistic community, the autism community, what would you want them to know? Or if you were trying to say something to a person who might be living with autism, like what would you want to say to them?
I've been thinking about this question for a long time. I can highly recommend that you get to know people on YouTube or social media, like anywhere that is neurodivergent. Talk to them and discuss things, or just connect. I think that is really important because that is what I did. Trust yourself. And if people don't want to listen to you or don't think that you know what you're doing, or if they say, like, oh, why do you think you're autistic or neurodivergent? Try not to let that stop you from understanding yourself, and
Mm,
don't let them decide for you what is important to focus on, or like just believe in yourself. Don't stop learning about yourself.
that's
That's what I have right
wonderful.
now.
No, I
It's
think that's
hard.
amazing advice. I think so many times throughout one's journey, it's like a fragile thing for a
Yeah.
while. It doesn't feel concrete. So when somebody questions you along your journey, sometimes it can really set you back. But if we trust ourselves and how we're feeling, um, that can get us kind of across the finish line to understanding that we are on the autism spectrum and understanding ourselves better. So I think that's amazing advice.
Yeah, so I mean, when you connect to people in the autistic community, or people who talk about being neurodivergent and they are trying to explain, and just try to talk to them, and you will get the support you need, and you will feel motivated to continue, even if it feels like you shouldn't do it because someone told you. Like, you don't need to think that you're autistic, or you don't need a diagnosis, or you're just like everyone else. You don't
Hmm.
look autistic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
think
that's
that's
what I'm
amazing
trying to
advice.
say. Like, yeah, that's how you get the confidence or the motivation. And yeah, so you don't give up on yourself. Keep finding out who you are.
That's perfect advice, actually. Well, I want to thank you again for coming to be on the show, Isabella. I want everyone to go ahead, I'll link it down below, but please go ahead and check out her channel. Um, she does videos about her experience of learning about being on the spectrum. And I think what I appreciate about your channel right now is it's a snapshot of someone's diagnostic journey within that first year. And I think it will be helpful to other people who might be going through that right now. And they maybe can understand themselves a little bit better by watching your content. So I'd love to point everyone to go over and check out your channel.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
I hope that everyone has a great day and enjoyed the podcast episode. Let us know in the comments what you thought, and we will see you next time, okay? All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.